And what's happening, guys? Welcome along to the 420 news over here on Martin's World. Hope everybody's good out there, guys. It's Saturday. Hopefully everybody had a good week and is having a great weekend. Who's out there, guys? Get your comments in the hot box. I see there's a couple of you over there on the YouTube. Where's everybody on Twitch and then anybody else over on Facebook and Rumble? As we do stream from all those platforms as well, guys. Yes. What's happening, Joe? I see Joe out there. Hit some of the bong. Yes. There'll be civil disobedience from the bong here on this show. Which is pretty much the same thing. Yes. We'll pack up some civil disobedience here now as we speak about it. Oh, yes. What do we have in here today? Oh, we've got some Neville's Haze. A bit of Spanish import for a change on here, guys. It's been a while since having a bit of Spanish import, but yeah, Neville's Haze came from a buddy of mine there over during the week, and yeah, it's quite tasty, to be fair, for a bit of Spanish import. I know Haze gets a bit of a rough deal out there, a bit of stick off people, but yeah, this one is it's on point. Just silence the old gone. So let's get us stuck into a little bit of civil disobedience there, guys. Join me if you will. And to be fair, the guys in the hot box were talking about this during the week, but there's actually a fairly nice white ash off of this after you blaze it. So what's everybody out there got? Miles Chronic says, "Wow, Neville's Haze, that's a rare one." Yeah, it's excuse me. It's been around for a while, hasn't it? The Neville's Haze. Like I can remember working in the grow shop. Geez, going back 13, 14 years ago now, nearly. And yeah, Neville's Haze was a popular enough one there from the Greenhouse Seeds. I remember at that time actually when I was in the grow shop, Greenhouse Seeds came out with their what was it, like their proprietary seed coating. Can you remember that at all? When the Greenhouse Seeds came out with these like seeds, and they had a kind of a coat on the outside of the seed, and that was supposed to help enhance the germination rate of those seeds. But I don't know. I can remember when that happened, that quickly Greenhouse Seeds just died a dead. At least in that store that I was working in. But as I say, that's gone back like, geez, over 10 years ago now that was. I know Greenhouse Seeds has come back and it's kind of reclaimed the position there on the throne of quality seed producers, but yeah, it's still lacking behind anyway, in my opinion. They do definitely got some nice strains though. Who else is out there? Daglon says, yeehaw. Teddy's Farm is in the hot box as well. What's happening, Teddy? Kyle is out there as well. What's happening down there in the west? Kyle? Bobby is out there as well. What's happening, Bobby? Says we smoking some cereal milkshake. Oh man, no dosey dos today, so I give him the dosey dos a break. Yeah, I suppose you can afford to as well. You know, spoiled for choice and all of that. Oh, those buds, guys! If you're not in the hot box over on Telegram, guys, you're missing out. The link should be in the description of the show. But Bobby there in the hot box, he's been sharing some fire nugs, absolute like bud porn. Kyle Strachan says blazing a blunt of blue cheese and full gas. Nice. Yeah, we're looking forward to some sour Maui cheese myself there soon enough. Excuse me. A buddy of mine there who's been in between harvest is due to bring it down there now soon enough, so hopefully it should be dry and in the bowl for civil disobedience. So winning maybe the next 2 weeks. Fingers crossed, all going well. Barry Fields, Hulkberry from Royal Queen Seeds. Nice. Daglon as Adam Dunn says some nice pollen. Nice, nice. It's been a while actually since I came across some pollen out there. I have to say it's been mostly just the green. Anybody else out there coming across much hash or pollen these days? Miles Chronic says, I do the coloured seeds. What a load of marketing hype. Yeah, that's what I found as well at that time. It was just kind of a bit of a marketing, to give them a bit of a marketing edge on other seed companies who weren't coating their seeds and giving you that edge, in the germination, but marketing, huh? TG, what's happening? Temple Growers popping into the hot box and he says, "G'day, mateys." TG, I'm sure you could go on a rant there about marketing gimmicks within the cannabis industry. I'm sure you see your fair share of it over there in Canada, but Barry Fields getting a link in there to the Rumble as well. Nice one for that, Barry. Guys, if you got an account over there on Rumble as well, do hit that link there that Barry's after sharing over on YouTube, and give us an old follow or subscribe or whatever is the term that they use over there on Rumble. Podge, what's happening? Says, smoking a bit of Pineapple Express. Oh, very nice, very nice. And the only thing that annoyed me about the Pineapple Express, it was a great movie and everything, but the strain that came out of it, it had to be an autoflower. I can remember when I seen the strain, I was like, oh yes, Pineapple Express, excellent. And then I seen it was like autoflower, and I was like, of course, yeah, Express, autoflower, yeah, it makes a bit of sense. But I was just really hoping for a good photo period like Pineapple Express one. It didn't have to be like an autoflower. Come on, 8 to 9 week flower time, that's express enough, surely. But yeah, I was a bit disappointed when that strain first came to market. I had high expectations. Hey, pun definitely intended there, guys, if you didn't know. Oh man, Temple Grower. Oh, my mouth is even watering just thinking of that. Oh, crystalline entity. Yum. And Pip Jam says, smoking the apple and bananas. Oh, very nice. I believe I do have a couple of beans of that there actually to gift to my buddy. That came over from New York actually. Bobby sent them on over there and gifted a couple of the growers on the Irish scene some lovely, lovely beans. Not once but twice now. But I believe there was apples and bananas there in that first consignment, and I have a few of those beans there, and I will pass them along, and they will be germinated very soon. But I do know my buddy the grower has a long list of seeds to get through. It's a common problem I'm hearing out there in the growing community, is that you just have so many strains that you want to grow, but you're just limited in space. And and it's something, that we'll see in some of the stories, maybe not today's news, thankfully, but you would see, a grower, they might have 8 plants or something like that, and and maybe even, a kilo. Let's say that they just recently harvested, they get done for having a kilo, they harvested 8 plants and managed to get over a kilo. The cops come in the next day and fucking raid them, unfortunately, get caught with 8 plants in a kilo. It's easy for the media to kind of paint that person as being some sort of a drug dealer in it, producing it commercially for profit. But the reality, guys, is as we just kind of go through there, the strains, we just listed off a number of strains there. How many growers out there, will grow multiple strains at one time? And therefore, you end up with a bit of an abundance of cannabis after maybe a couple of grows, because you might have a couple of different jars of cannabis there, and you're savouring it. You're making it last, and also you're looking forward to the future strains that are coming, and as you kind of get through maybe 2 or 3 grows, you're kind of looking there and you're like, yeah, you're admiring it, you're looking like, oh yeah, that's an amazing wall of cannabis jars there. I have all these different strains, but next your fucking door gets kicked in. Unfortunately, that wall of cannabis, it's all weighed up as one consignment of cannabis over a kilo. Your 8 plants, you get done, €800 a plant. They're talking about, what's that, €6,400 worth of cannabis plus a kilo, another 20 grand. So you're talking 25 grand's worth of cannabis there. But you're literally a person who's only in it for their own personal, use of cannabis. That's all. And imagine, like, the media will paint you as being like some fucking sort of Pablo Escobar type of thing, but hey, that's what we're here on Martin's World for. We're going to destigmatise, we're going to shine a light on some of this injustice that happens out there. And hopefully over time, bring some of these growers on who have been busted, who fit that description there that I just described, a person who was just got carried away. I know one person out there who fits that description at the back of my mind, the Friendly Grower. Shout out to the Friendly Grower. And hopefully people like the Friendly Grower will come on here and share their story, share their experience, what it was like to start off growing cannabis, fall in love with it, and then unfortunately, experience that downside, the negative side there of having their family home raided, family life just upended, their life just completely torn asunder by people supposedly there to help them. So fingers crossed there in the not too distant future I will have people like the Friendly Grower on there to share their story and experiences. Fingers crossed there very soon as well, maybe we might see Gary Hughes return to the screen. I know last time I was talking with Simpa on the Simpa's Life podcast. If you haven't checked out that interview, that's over there on the Simpa Life on YouTube and on the various podcast platforms. But he was telling me that Gary Hughes was due for release within like the next 2 weeks. I think that interview was like nearly 3 or 4 weeks ago. So like fingers crossed Gary Hughes is out there right now, sitting down, smoking a big fatty. And if he is, guys, tell him I said hi. Because I really do want to speak with Gary Hughes. I wish I was able to do more to help him over there in the UK, but unfortunately kind of limited in what I can do here from Ireland. But I really do hope that he's released soon, if not already, and that he'll come on here and have a chat as well about his experience. Man, what did he do? He's been in there now for nearly 2 years, 2 and a bit. Am I right there? I believe it was 2022 that he got locked up anyway. Like he's almost 2 years maybe. Shit, it sucks. Like, it really does. Gary Hughes is a legend. He's one of the good ones out there doing the good work, and man, I just really feel let down by, and no offence to anybody in the UK cannabis community, but I really do feel like the UK cannabis community let down Gary Hughes. I believe he done, Simpa interviewed him already. Excellent. That's the job. Nice one. That's nice one for that there, Chilbert. So Simpa has interviewed Gary Hughes already. I wasn't aware of that. So nice one. That's the job. But as I was just saying, I really do feel like the likes of Gary Hughes was let down by the wider cannabis community there, because like, man, where was the flag being flown for him, like, and shouting his name? Like I kind of felt bad anytime I went on the likes of High and Homegrown or any podcast. Like I had to make sure that I said it, like, free Gary Hughes, free Patrick Moore, free all cannabis prisoners for that reason. But yeah, I'm delighted to hear that Simpa's interviewed him, and that means he is home. So fingers crossed, it's just gone 420 that he is just finishing a big fatty. And I will reach out to him through whatever means I have there for him and see if I can get him on here to have a chat as well, because as I said, Gary's a legend. Hopefully he might pop into the hot box there throughout the day. Green Tea says hi all. Hope yous are all good, and she's talking on some blue gelato. Yummy. Was that by yourself or Mr. Wes? I suppose it doesn't really matter because it's they're both freaking absolutely amazing. On pair, it'd be hard to tell the two apart. Oh, TG says hella volume this month, man. I caught your video there the other day. I think I might pop it up on screen there for people actually. Just for the crack. 1 sec. Boom. Gonna pop over here to Temple Growers X account. So boom, this should be up on screen there now for you guys. And look at this stuff, like. Good tunes. Some fucking amazing cannabis distillate by the looks a bit like. What's not to love about that shop that Temple Grower has? Well, yes. Good Lord. Another 200 kilos in the pipe. Oh. That's sick. That is just like, ah. Who else out there is just looking at that and is just like, ah, in absolute awe at it. Absolute awe. Brian Duggan says, good job raising these cases. Yeah, not a bother at all, Brian, man. It's just it's the least I could be doing for him, you know. It really is. He's looking at the likes of Patrick Moore. Like, what he was doing there in the background, helping out patients, growing some cannabis and providing it there to some sick and vulnerable patients. Like, what a legend. Fingers crossed, you know, somebody like himself too will be home free very soon. Temple Grower said he went downstairs and came up and was like, what the fuck is playing? Some banging tunes there from the workplace, yeah, TG. Or was that your reaction in the workplace when you came back upstairs to watch the distillate come out and you were like, lads, what are you playing? He says that stuff is real nice though. I just wish, like, I would love to know what it smells like inside in that workplace of yours, man, you know? That's all I was thinking when I first seen that video. I was like, oh, I imagine just the aromas that must have been hitting your nose at that point. Or was it just, is that like the aroma's kind of gone at that point? I'd have to imagine that there's definitely still some form of a waft to hit that nose. Yes, and Barry Fields, what a legend. Barry Fields there with the link for TG's X account, guys. Twitter account, actually. It comes up there, twitter.com/TempleGrower. So do get over there, give him a follow if you got an account. Because some of the videos that comes out there from TG, it will blow your mind. You're just looking at a guy working in the cannabis industry over there. If you're looking from here in Ireland, like me, yeah, it'll blow your mind. Daglon, great question. Asking, is there any 420 gating this year? I'd imagine that's gathering. But yeah, most certainly there is. There isn't any actual plans cemented as of yet. But there has been talk there by the guys at the Cannabis Activist Alliance. I've been hearing kind of rumours in the pipeline that are on the grapevine, that the major group for cannabis reform, that they're not going to be organising a 420 this year above in Dublin. So the plan is that this year the Cannabis Activist Alliance will be stepping in and making the plans there for an event on 420, which does fall on a Saturday this year, guys, you know. And it is, let's quickly just pop back over here to boom. Countdown to 420. It is 62 days away, guys. 6 hours and 20 minutes and 50 seconds. So 62 days there, guys. We are counting down there to 420, which again, as I say, is a Saturday this year. That won't be long falling by coming on upon us, like, you know. 62 days. TG says royalty free music, 38 special, epic. That's the job. No copyright infringement to me later. So yeah. And he's saying here, no, we rock out all the time, and it honestly smells like shit mostly. It's funny enough you say that. Actually, it just smells like shit. My sister said that she was at work the other day, and that she thought she could smell cannabis like coming out there, like, but it turned out that no, it was actually mouse piss that she could smell. So there you go, mouse piss. But yeah, it smells like shit. He says TG. Barry Fields bigging up Cork here. Guys, if you didn't know out there, you know, Cork is great and it's an amazing place and you should really visit it and come here because Cork is just great. Again, shout out to the friendly grower who will tell you too how amazing Cork is. If you want to join the Telegram group, the 24/7 Hotbox, and you'll find out all about how great Cork is. Boom. Excellent. And we're seeing here that the stream is going absolutely amazing today. No drop stream, no drop frames. Yes. I kicked everybody out of the house. I was like, nobody's allowed on the internet. Go shopping or something. Fingers crossed we can get this done before they come back. And saying that, like, come on, like we're 20 minutes in, chatting with you all in the Hotbox. Let's blaze one more bowl of civil disobedience with you guys, and let's get stuck into today's headlines, because we've got a few good ones. The first one that I want to get stuck into is it's a good one. It's one that really kind of pissed me off at first when I read it, and it pissed me off even further when I read more into it. So let's blaze this, and we'll save this. We'll get free from the suspense in a sec. And again, before we get stuck into the headline, shout out to Cork Herbal Products, who gifted us a long time ago this absolutely beautiful bong, which is still serving me well. From time to time, we sadly say goodbye to bongs because of them being knocked over, but this one, she's standing the test of time. I say that now, and it'll break before the end of the stream. Right, any more shout outs in the Hotbox? I believe we got to everybody. Chilbert, Barry Duggan, Miles Chronic, Pip Jam, Brian Duggan. That's what I said, Barry Duggan. Yeah, there's all the shout outs. Right, let's get cracking there, so guys, into the first headline I have for you today. And it's one that, as I said, it kind of annoyed me when I read it at first, because the headline reads, the University of Galway, a study shows that legal synthetic cannabis linked to psychosis incidents. And this was a sharp piece that was up there in the Midway West, and it says legal synthetic cannabis has been linked to incidents of psychosis, and it was a study by the University of Galway and the Mercy University Hospital here in Cork. Has found that these readily available products can have some adverse mental health effects. But like, no shit, Sherlock, come on, nobody is actually saying that these things aren't going to adversely affect a person's mental health if they abuse them or misuse them, But it says 2 men citing the research had to be hospitalised and received treatment for a number of weeks before the psychosis stopped. And of course, our buddy Bobby Smith there was straight onto the airwaves to make use of this study and to, spread his propaganda there around the use of cannabis. But we dived further into this. So the study actually was looking at a HHC. So there was a number of articles that were released in relation to this. And what I say was pissing me off about this really is that, like, we've a couple of cases of people presented to hospital with psychosis relating to some of these products. And all of a sudden there's studies being done on them. And, like, need to remind you guys that we've had the Medical Cannabis Access Programme here in Ireland since 2006, only actually been, or 2016, accepted in 2016, actually only up and running since 2019. How many of those patients have been approached for a study? 0. Absolutely none. I am not aware of a single patient currently prescribed medical cannabis in Ireland who's been approached by any form of researcher to take part in a study. None. I've spoken to Vera Toomey on a number of occasions in the past, before Eva passed, sadly. May she rest in peace. And I've asked her, has there been any research done there as to how Eva is responding to this medication since she's been prescribed it? And she's like, no, none, very little. None that she's aware of. And when I asked how much interaction there was there between the team at the hospital, her consultants, the neurology team, looking after her epilepsy, I was like, how much interaction was there? Very little. They were very hands-off, if anything. So that was one thing that came to mind when I read this article, when I came across these headlines. They were very quick to do a study to link the synthetic cannabinoids, and in fact, actually, it's about HHC, which is a semi-synthetic cannabinoid. So again, even the headlines are actually misleading in their own right, because they mislabel the substance. It's not a synthetic; it's a semi-synthetic, in that it's a natural compound, HHC, found in cannabis in minute amounts, amounts that are actually so small it's very hard to even detect it. But they're able to actually convert CBD to HHC with chemical processing. And that's why it's a semi-synthetic. It's a natural compound, but it's made synthetically by converting another natural compound, CBD. So they've mislabeled the actual compound in the headlines there. But again, as I say, like, it just really annoyed me that they were very quick to jump in here, do a study. And as I say, many patients have been prescribed cannabis in this country for, we're coming on to, 7 or 8 years now since, as I said, 2016. But when we look at, actually, it was longer. Tristan Ford. Let's just quick search there online. Just Tristan Ford. Cannabis approval. I believe it was like 2014, 2016. It was 2016, yeah. 2014 came around, that's when I started college, yeah. So we would have been helping Tristan Ford and his mum Yvonne in the campaign, highlighting, raising awareness, and they got approval back in 2016. So I'll pop that up on screen just so you can see this. Cork boy gets a license. He was 3 years of age at that time. There he is, pictured up on screen. Tristan Ford with his mother Yvonne Callanan. They're from West Cork. They had to actually leave Ireland. They had to leave Ireland and go to Colorado. They go and be in exile. It's just the two pair of them. They leave the father and Tristan's brothers and I believe sister at home. So they leave his other siblings at home and travel with his mum. And it stayed there, I believe, for a number of months before actually getting approval here then for the use of this medicine after seeing how tremendously he responded to it over in Colorado. They got approval and they were able to return home. Tristan, like, in that space of time, I believe it was like 3 to 6 months that they were stuck over in Colorado. His ability to walk and talk improved dramatically. The number of seizures absolutely plummeted. You know, an amazing turnaround. To date, I've never seen a single study, a case report put out covering the use of cannabis by a 3-year-old boy in Cork. None to date. Or what age might he be now? 2016, so he's 9 now. Tristan Ford, he's 9 now. I touch wood, John. Really hope that he is, like, John, running around happy, healthy. Much thanks to his mother's efforts to get him prescribed medical cannabis here in Ireland. I should probably, I'd wonder how she might respond to me reaching out, kind of. But we should reach out to Yvonne and see how Tristan is doing and see if she might come and have a chat with me here on the podcast as well. I know when Yvonne came on, Vera was campaigning quite heavily then as well at that time. And there was a bit of a kind of a falling out between the two, I believe, kind of. Don't really want to get into the dramatics of it, but one felt like the other was kind of getting in the way of their campaign and they should have stepped back. I'm not going to say point names or anything like that, but it was kind of unfortunate at that time that they weren't able to kind of work together. But let's see what happens there. I'll reach out to Yvonne and see if how Tristan is doing, if she'd kind of comment on Tristan and if she would come on for a chat. But again, just to go back to why we were kind of here on this is that I'm not aware of a single study being done on this child or any other person prescribed cannabis to date in the state to strengthen the evidence there for the prescribing of cannabis. But man, look how quick they are to jump in there and do this study. So let's dive to the top of the page. HHC-induced psychosis, a case series of psychotic illness triggered by a widely available semi-synthetic cannabinoid. So like the journalists, could even just transcribe, like, semi-synthetic. Come on. And what's the headline here? Irish study links semi-synthetic. Oh, they did. Actually, it was the other one. It was the first one. University of Galway study shows legal synthetic cannabis linked to psychosis incident. So it was the first one. The second journalist actually got it right. So fair play to Cormac O'Keefe. I've covered a good few of these articles here on this show. But the article itself, the research itself, journalist here, it was published on a Valentine's Day. And the abstract says use of both cannabis and synthetic cannabinoids have been regularly linked to the development of psychotic illness. Thus, semi-synthetic cannabinoids such as hexahydrocannabinol, HHC, which have a similar neurological profile to delta-9 THC, may also be expected to lead to psychotic illness. However, no such relationship has yet been reported in scientific literature. HHC is readily available online and in many vape shops in Ireland. Here we present 2 cases of psychotic illness which appear to have been precipitated by the use of legally purchased HHC and discuss its psychogenic role and factors linked to its current widespread availability. So again, as I say, a couple of people present to the hospital with psychotic illness in relation to these. They're quick to do the study. Kids out there going from hundreds of seizures a month to none, and no study done. It's like, what's going on? And I'll highlight a little bit of what's going on there before we dive in any further into this, is because researchers like this, when they want to go and do research into the harms of different drugs like cannabis, there's no barriers or gateways or stigma associated to that research. So therefore, these researchers won't be blocked, barricaded, in different ways, such as, having their supervisor turn around and say to them, is it really a good thing to be researching cannabis? Because that's what happened to this guy. Because I wanted to explore the beneficial side of it, So I was very much blocked and barriers put up in front of me when I was trying to explore cannabis and the benefits of its use. But meanwhile, you want to explore the psychotic nature or the link between cannabis and psychosis. No bother. By all means, go ahead. Look, and the Mercy, the University Hospital Mercy and all will afford you access to their patients. Or at least to the information they're relating to those patients. But anyway, let's dive into it, because with the case studies themselves are listed here, and it gives a fair bit of information about them. And again, the information, as I was reading this earlier, I was just kind of like, how is this not included in the headline? That, in both cases, and we'll dive into it, but in both cases, both of these guys actually had experienced 3 days of insomnia. So these guys had suffered 3 days of insomnia before actually presenting to the emergency departments with the various symptoms that they were suffering from, So we read the first case report, which is of a 20-year-old man who presented to psychiatry services. He presented to the emergency department complaining of distress and psychotic symptoms, including delusions of guilt and persecution with the derogatory second person derogatory second person auditory hallucinations. So what I'm imagining they're saying here is that this guy was hearing somebody who was saying something to him, but there was nobody actually there. And whatever this person was saying to him, it was making him feel guilty. So this person who was saying something to him was persecuting him, making him feel guilt and shame or something along those lines. Anyway, but he feared that he would be sent to prison and that he may have killed one of his friends. He had superficially burnt himself with a cigarette in the context of guilt, guilty cognitions toward himself. So he was self-harming because of the guilt he was feeling. He reported total insomnia for 3 days. He reported apparent dissociative symptoms and stated he felt as if he was in a game. On mental state examination, he was agitated and distressed, though disorientated, thought disordered, with a second-person derogatory auditory hallucinations. So, they left out a lot there within this. They're very quick to go in. Oh, HHC. Oh, it's the semi-synthetic cannabinoid products that cause this. But, how is this guy actually doing before this? He's 3 days of insomnia. I know people out there consuming HHC and it's not causing them insomnia. But again, maybe there if you're abusing it, if you're overusing it. But this guy says that he was using one vape. So it talks about it down here. He reported he was a habitual cannabis user for 3 years preceding his admission, smoking on average a half a gram of cannabis per day, with no recent change or increase in his cannabis use or type. However, he had begun utilising a HHC vape in the 2 months prior to admission. So he was using HHC for 2 months. And he vaped daily and was unable to quantify his intake accurately, but reported that a single vape would provide approximately 5 to 7 days of usage. A brand he used and had packaging stating it contained 300 puffs of 95% HHC distillate with 5% terpenes, and it was derived from hemp. So again, as I say, it was CBD converted to HHC, derived from hemp, and was manufactured in Holland, the Netherlands. He reported occasional HHC consumption via edible products, but predominantly ingested via vaping. He denied any other significant substance use in the months prior to admission. It says also that he had no prior psychiatric or medical diagnosis, and he was a single male student with no dependents and lived with his housemates of a similar age. His family were located elsewhere in the country, but he remained close to them. He reported a history of psychotic illness in a maternal grandmother and a history of alcohol addiction in a maternal uncle. He reported some infrequent use of various substances, including benzodiazepines, cocaine, and 3,4-methylamphetamine, so MDMA. But denied using these substances in the weeks prior to his presentation. He reported occasional social alcohol intake and denied any history of alcohol or substance dependence. Routine physical examination and screening bloods were normal, and a urine drug screen returned positive for cannabis only. He accepted recommendation of a voluntary admission to the adult psychiatry unit. So again here, like there is no really like strong history of mental health within the family, except for one grandmother. There's only one uncle there who suffers with addiction, and his own drug use there. Like he uses benzos, cocaine, and MDMA. Like there is some potential there, like that there could be some interaction had he used maybe some of these products in the weekend before, and then continue to use the HHC. Maybe there was some interaction there, because like the benzos he was getting, maybe they were off the black market and they actually weren't even benzos, or maybe the codeine he was taking, it was codeine actually, not cocaine, codeine. So again, maybe some of these things are interacting, who knows. But it goes on to say then that during his admission he initially presented as fearful and persecuted with prominent delusions of guilt and persecution associated with thoughts of self-harm. He spent prolonged periods praying with a Bible or a rosary beads, and he felt that there was an evil devil inside him. The patient responded well to a combination of olanzapine and clonazepam, so they're basically relaxers, with a significant reduction in his delusional beliefs and the stress associated with the same, and quickly recovered insight into his presentation. After a period of 2 weeks, he was discharged from the inpatient unit, and his plan on discharge included a prescription of olanzapine, 10 milligrams, and followed up by community mental health team visits. There was no further evidence of any psychotic symptoms on follow-up appointments with his CMHT team. He returned to a full social and occupational functioning. He reported abstinent small substances, including cannabis and HHC, and he had a good insight into the nature of his illness and likely precipitants, and was able to reflect well upon these. He weaned off olanzapine over a 5-month period, resulting in a rebound in insomnia, but no reoccurrence of psychotic symptoms. So again, they're very quick there to jump in and say that the HHC actually kind of caused this, but this guy was suffering from insomnia. Maybe it was the insomnia coupled with the HHC use, because it said that he rebounded back into the insomnia afterwards. Maybe he was actually suffering with the insomnia, and that's the reason why he was using the HHC initially. Who knows? But again, like the say that the HHC actually induced the psychosis, I think it's a very strong leap to be kind of making that association, at least in my opinion. Obviously, I'll acknowledge, look, I'm incredibly biased in this, but I do think that's a reasonable statement to make, that's kind of a bit of a leap to be kind of insinuating that the HHC caused this. The second case, and it's interesting, in the second case, this guy also suffered with insomnia. So again, maybe there's some link here with insomnia and the HHC. Maybe these guys were prescribed some other sleeping tablet to deal with their insomnia. I don't know. Shout out to Podge in the audience. Dude, BY to HHC. But do you get prescribed anything yourself for insomnia? Is there a potential drug out there that could be actually interacting with HHC and causing these kind of paranoid delusions, auditory hallucinations, and what have you? But the second man in his late 30s said he had one previous episode of cannabis-induced psychosis 28 months previously. So this guy had already suffered with a psychotic break, and it was linked to cannabis. You know, they say it was a cannabis-induced psychosis. Prior to his second admission, he presented for an urgent outpatient review with his partner. And again, you know, the cannabis-induced psychosis, they're always very quick to make this kind of accusation, oh, it's cannabis-induced psychosis. But isn't that just a person having a psychotic break who also use cannabis? Because how many people out there use cannabis and don't suffer from cannabis-induced psychosis? Is it not just, you know, a coincidence then? And it's not actually cannabis-induced psychosis, just a person having a psychotic break who also uses cannabis. But anyway, his partner stated that in the preceding 2 nights he had not slept. So again, you know, suffering there with a bit of insomnia and had been talking to himself throughout the day. He repeatedly said sorry to the assessing clinician and asked if he was experiencing, if what he was experiencing was reality, and continuously wrote in a copybook but was unable to articulate why he was doing so. 2 weeks prior to his presentation, he had purchased a vape from a CBD shop, and the patient used the same branded vape as described in the first case. So again, maybe there's a problem there with a contamination. Did they actually test these vapes to actually see if it was HHC that was in them? Is it potentially that these guys could have been a victim of improper quality control, you know, at the back end there when they were actually making the HHC? Was it actually properly assessed to see if it was HHC? Is there a byproduct of the processing of the CBD to CBD to HHC that could potentially be left over there and causing these undesirable effects? Who knows? But again, if it was that, then you would possibly be seeing a lot more of these cases out there. So it's much more likely to be linked to some maybe underlying condition there, as I say, maybe potentially the insomnia. He said that one vape lasted him roughly 1 week and that he had began to use it to lessen his anxiety. He denied using any cannabis or other illicit substances in the last 2 years. So this particular this individual actually wasn't actually using anything in the last 2 years. And it suffers cannabis-induced psychosis 20 months previously, so that would have been over 2 years ago. So obviously been abstaining from cannabis use since then. He was admitted to the psychiatric unit on a voluntary basis, and at admission the patient was noted to be pacing around the ward and insisted on keeping office doors open. And he sat in a doorway and displayed a perplexed appearance and was illogic. He denied feeling paranoid, but his speech was bizarre in content. His physical examination and routine blood tests were unremarkable. He declined to give a urine drug sample, and he was commenced on I'm going to try this one out. Aripiprazole? Aripiprazole. 10 milligrams. 3 days into his admission, his mental state was noted to have improved dramatically, and he was discharged for follow-up with the first episode psychosis team after 10 days of admission. Following his discharge, he had a successful phased return to work, and there was no evidence of psychotic or affective symptoms in the following months. At review 9 months post-admission, the patient was prescribed aripiprazole, 10 milligrams, and had returned to his baseline level of functioning. So again, there was no lasting effects. It seems like both of these cases, the first one, the person had to stay in hospital for 2 weeks. The second person, it seems he was discharged after a couple of days. So it wasn't a very serious thing. And again, you know, given the widespread use of these, it's still a very limited number of people presenting to the emergency department and psychiatric units after use. So again, a very strong, massive leap to be making, you know, to be insinuating HHC is leading to these cases. His prior episode of cannabis-induced psychosis had followed a period of total insomnia. So again, as I said, this guy was suffering from insomnia in the past for 2 days, during which time the patient was grossly thought disordered again with prominent Elagia. During this admission, he had also experienced delusions of reference, was admitted involuntary for a brief period, and was treated with olanzapine 10 milligrams and discharged after 9 days. He recovered well with the support of the first episode psychosis team, successfully returned to work and completed a course of psychotherapy. His medication was switched to aripiprazole 15 milligrams, which was stopped 14 months post-admission with no further psychotic symptoms. He had never previously received treatment in primary or secondary care for any mental health concerns, and there was no family history or psychiatric disorder or substance misuse. The patient had been a regular cannabis smoker since his 20s and had increased his intake to 2 joints per day, roughly 1 gram of cannabis, in the 6 months prior to his first admission. He denied any other illicit substance use before this admission. So again, 2 case studies, and like, you're getting headlines like this: Irish study links. There's no strong link here. Like, there's an association, like, but not a causation. And the association is only purely coincidental. Like, would you say? Like, these guys, both of them, it seems like both of them are suffering like from potential mental breaks, insomnia as well as part of that. Like, I think there's something underlying there, and HHC just, again, it's just a coincidence that it's there. Otherwise, would we not be seeing a lot more cases of people presenting to the emergency department and needing to be kind of hospitalised for a week or two? We certainly would, and we'd certainly be hearing about it in the media if it was the case. We're not, because it's very unlikely that it is the case. So there you go. That's the first one. That was just the first bit of news. Do we want to delve into the discussion? There's a bit there in the discussion. It references papers by Bobby Smith. They talk there about the need for intervention by the government for regulation of these products, which I don't disagree with, to be fair. I think there does need to be intervention by the government, and there does need to be a regulation of these products, but just a complete removal of the Section 3 of the Misuse of Drugs Act while doing so, because you need to give people the alternative option there of actually access to THC if you want to reduce their use of this kind of new product, HHC. And I say new because I know it's been around for a long time in cannabis naturally, but it's in a minuscule amounts so small that you could barely detect it with some of the most powerful analytical techniques out there. It wasn't identified properly, like, for a good while, because it was in such minute amounts actually naturally in the plant. So therefore people haven't been consuming it in the levels that they're consuming it now today, because of the widespread availability of it to offer a legal alternative to THC. Come on, how many people use HHC out there because it's a legal alternative to THC? Like, I'd imagine there's a good few of you out there. Like, comment in the hot box, a little hand up there. Let me know. But the conclusion reached anyway that we present 2 cases of psychotic illness likely precipitated by use of HHC. Likely precipitated by use of HHC, a semi-synthetic cannabinoid which is currently widely sold as a legal product in Ireland. Given the widespread and increasing use of vaping and the ready access to this compound, clinicians and policymakers should be aware of its psychogenetic potential and to protect potentially vulnerable patients from its deleterious effects through psychoeducation and legislative restrictions. Yeah, sure, guys, make it illegal. That'd be amazing. Want to make it illegal? Sure, it'll just be sold on the black market then, you dumbasses. Come on, in fairness, like, if they turn around and make this illegal like they done to the spice, what happened with spice, guys? It went to the black market. That's exactly where it went. And where is it now today? It's still on the bloody black market, you know? Yeah, Mark Jenkins, look at these studies, he says. It's ridiculous. It really is. It's ridiculous because, like, these products they are widespread, available everywhere. I see these products are actually being sold in a shopping centre here in Cork, down in Blackpool Shopping Centre, right in the centre of the shopping centre. There's a vape shop, and the vape shop has a sticker on its window, HHC sold here. It's there. It's there on the window. There's another shop in the city, and this shop in the city it's known to sell vapes to underage kids. It's known. I know legislation was only recently brought in to stop this, but still to this day, under 18 teenagers can go into this shop in the city and they can buy these vapes. And guess what? That place also sells HHC. So it's not that hard for kids, and that's where I say, yeah, there should be regulation of these products in there. There should be like an age limit put in. I know people out there selling it currently would be self-regulating. Like, shout out to Mark there. Like, Mark, I'd imagine you self-regulate these products. Like, you apply an age limit, even though there is no legislation there currently that requires you to do so. But there's other stores out there that aren't as honest, you know? Actually, is there legislation now? Do these HHC vapes, they've probably fall under the other vapes legislation? Or is the other vape legislation for, yeah, it has to be for all vapes. Like, even if it's a nicotine-free vape and it's only a fruity one, like, they can't sell them to kids either, surely. Yeah. Yeah, Mark saying here, it's going to be an alphabet race until the legal market. 100% Mark, man. That's exactly what I mean. That's the regulation that needs to be brought in. There needs to be a regulation of all of these products across the board, including high THC products, including like just pure cannabis grown like as God intended. That needs to be brought in too. And at least when that's brought in, you know, I know people like yourself who currently sell HC will probably make that switch over. And those kind of unscrupulous stores out there who do sell to underage kids, even though they shouldn't, the market will be gone for them. They won't be able to sell to anybody anymore unless they continue just to sell to kids, which they're going to get in massive trouble for. But yeah, it is going to be an alphabet race because it's just going to be they put in a regulation around HHC, and next there's what is it, HHCP, HHCPT. They just keep adding a molecule here, there, and these additional molecules, like you really don't know what the effect is going to be long term afterwards, you know, because they're altering it in such a way. And keep in mind, guys, morphine and heroin, one additional molecule added to morphine. I believe it's an acetyl molecule that was added, and that made heroin more permeable to the blood-brain barrier. And that was the difference, and it made it more addictive, and it made it more potent, and all of that stuff. So that's the difference that one molecule, an additional molecule on a compound can make. Mark says, to be honest, we are 18 on every product, bar coffee, even Lost Mary. Fair play, Mark, man. That's good to hear. Bar coffee. So yeah, that's an interesting one though, that you can sell coffees to kind of people under 18. I'd imagine it should be like PG. Coffee should be PG. You have to be accompanied by an adult to get coffee. There's people out there now cursing me. Martin, shut up, you langer. Oh, but it's true though, like, man, you know, there's like some kids out there, like, you know, 16, 17-year-olds, and their parents probably don't want them drinking coffee because they're probably hyper enough as it is. Yes. Chi up here saying that we are ethanol extraction only. We do have a big resin sifting drum, but we don't use it. And I see Bobby asking there, can he borrow a TG? When Bobby's done with it, do you mind if he sends it on over here to me as well? I'll pass it up to Greenbeard when I'm done with it. I'm sure he'll get it back to you then in his next visit. Martin's over there on X. What's happening, Martin? He says, this is why prohibition is so ridiculous. All types of synthetic cannabis and semi-synthetic becomes the alternative. Yeah, it's true, Martin. That's exactly what Spice was at that time. You know, the K2 and all of these other products, you know, and all of the different, like, compounds. You see the compound names? Like, they're just letters and numbers. As Mark said there a couple of minutes ago, it's literally going to be an alphabet race, and we've already been an alphabet race. When they brought in the psychoactive substances bill back then, that was basically the alphabet race beginning. The more they put things to the list, the more the guys just come up with new ones. But as I say, like, these little alterations that they make to the compounds, like, they could have drastic effects to the potency of that particular compound, and we just don't know. Quadrex says, not very true, caffeine is a drug. Martin says here, most people sadly don't know where their cannabis comes from in the black market. Yeah, you said it, man. That is a sad reality out there under prohibition, is people don't know where the cannabis is coming from, but not only that, they don't even know the potency of their cannabis. Now, I know the likes of Casa das Drogas has offered an option there for people, but again, it requires the person to have to send a sample of their cannabis there, and it will take a couple of days for the processing of that sample for them to get back a THC result. And even that THC result, I don't know what the accuracy of that device actually is. I think it's plus or minus a % or 2 maybe. Casa, if you're out there in the hot box, let us know. But it's the Purple Pro. Casa das Drogas has got his hands on the Purple Pro, and he's offering a harm reduction service there for people across Europe, utilising his website. Up there you can download an application, fill that in, send it, print it off, fill it in, send it off with your sample. He'll process the sample, test it, see how much THC, CBD, and water content, water activity, I believe, moisture content of the sample that you sent to him, and he'll upload that then to a site for everybody to see, but it'll be anonymous who sent it in. You'll be able to identify it given an anonymous tag that you'll attach yourself on that application form. But it's a great service. It's one way you can find out the potency. But yeah, man, as Martin said there over on X, people don't know what they're getting. They don't know the potency of it. And then, you get case studies there like that other one. Yeah, even in that, like, Casas there in the hot box, he says plus or minus 1.3% accuracy on the THC when compared with HPLC results. HPLC, guys, that's pretty much a gold standard of analytical techniques. Theresa, what's happening? She says, I, Martin, was on X but couldn't comment on the stream or see comments. That's a bummer. Martin is on his own now. Nothing like the hot box. Martin's hogging the comment section over there. That's why you couldn't comment, Teresa. It's Martin's world over there on X. Alright, shall we dive on from there then? Because, there was one more article actually in relation to that I just wanted to pop up to you. Again, this headline, legal semi-synthetic cannabis harming Irish children's mental health. Again, this falls in line with what I was talking about there earlier. These products fall into the hands of children too easily because they're being sold by people that sell vapes in these kind of vape stores and phone stores. Do you ever see those things that are fucking everywhere now nearly? It's like a vape store and it does phone repairs all in the same shop. And these kind of shops, and without wanting to name the shop in the city, but it's one of these kind of shops, they have no problem at all selling to kids. Whereas, you have the likes of Mark out there who runs Relief, self-regulating there, doesn't really need to be putting these age limits on these products, but is. And it's somebody like him, when cannabis is legalised, who would also be a trustworthy person to be able to run a retail store selling cannabis to adults and ensuring then that it doesn't get into the hands of kids. So again, the problem here with this semi-synthetic cannabis harming children's health, it's happening under the model of prohibition. These kids, they're being sold these things by other people out there then as well. There's adults, buying these products and then selling them to kids as THC products. So they're overcharging them. They'll go into the likes of Mark's store, show their ID, and get their vape there for, I don't know how much a vape is inside in the shop, but like 20, 30 quid or something like that. They'll get the vape there for that, and then they'll go on to the black market to some young fella in secondary school, and the boys pooling their money together, and they're getting what they think is a THC vape. They pay 60 quid for it. Your man just doubled his money there, it turns 30 quid into 60 quid easy. Next, meanwhile, you got some fucking 15, 16-year-old now taking a couple of puffs there off this HHC, which is quite potent, 95% HHC in a distillate form. And if you're a minor and if you're not really used to it and if your tolerance isn't high, which for most people on HHC it isn't going to be, because it's a relatively new thing and it's in a very minute amount in cannabis, so it'll be hard to build a tolerance to it. They're going to be exposed to it and they're going to have a bad time. Like the kids down in Fermoy. Those kids down in Fermoy at that secondary school in Fermoy, they got their hands on what was later found to be a synthetic cannabinoid vape. Most likely a semi-synthetic HHC vape. But again, Bobby Smith getting in here, spreading his misinformation, hitting his propaganda about, the need for the prohibition of these products, as if that's going to work. Because Bobby Smith, he knows himself, he's been kept busy anyway from kids with cannabis under prohibition. So it's benefit his business even more. So you can read that, it's over there on News Talk. I'm not going to dive into that one. Spent enough time there and don't really want to be wasting any more time on the misinformation there by Bobby Smith. But we dive on. Boom. The next article, just the headline. Dublin man caught holding nearly 50,000 worth of cannabis due to a drug jailed for 2 years. And this is a case of a 27-year-old man here, and he's named in the article, and I'm not going to name him, and his address is also given here. I'm not going to read this out also. I know it is up on the screen, and you can probably read it for yourself if it's legible on the screen, but I'm not going to make it audible. He pleaded guilty to possession of cannabis for the sale and supply, as he had no choice, I suppose, really. He was holding the cannabis as he had a drug debt. So that's why he had to plead guilty on sale and supply. Even if he wasn't selling it, he was only holding it for somebody. To hold it for somebody, you have to give it back to that person, so you're supplying him. So on a technicality, yeah, he got done for supply based on his own admission of just holding the cannabis. It says the offence comes with a mandatory presumptive sentence of 10 years imprisonment, which a judge can only depart from in exceptional circumstances. And it says, passing the sentence today, Judge Martin Nolan, who, again, you might have seen his picture up there on the template, the thumbnail of the show. He's not a very nice judge to be falling in front of in a case relating to drugs. But meanwhile, if you're in front of this guy for freaking abuse of kids, he's very lenient. Picture there paints 1,000 words in this one. It's mad. Like this guy, what he's done. I'm going to actually make this a bit bigger, just so you can see some of these headlines, just to make sure you can see them. I'm covered in the hot box there now. Apologies. Bring the hot box to the front. Boom. There we go. Chat box to the front. But there you go. Look, car dealer avoids jail for sexually assaulting 2 nieces. Former civil servant caught with 7,000 child abuse images. Avoids jail. Suspended sentence for abuse images. Shop manager 56 caught with 460 child abuse images. Avoids jail. Like, all of these headlines, these are all relating to Judge Martin Nolan. And meanwhile, I know he moved away from the mandatory 10-year sentence. He still gave this guy 2.5 years in prison, with the last year, half year suspended. It says he imposed a 2-year sentence from today's date and said that was being as lenient as he could. Also, apologies, it was a 2-year sentence actually, not 2.5 years. So that's the article there. That was pretty much the ins and the outs of it. You can read it all there if you'd like. It says they recovered weighing scales, bagging equipment, 2 mobile phones. So there's kind of evidence there that the guy was potentially, dealing and not actually holding it under a drug debt. But still, 2 years in prison. That's a long time for selling a bit of cannabis. Something that, in due course, it is going to be legal. It's going to be decriminalised first, not the selling out of it, but the possession of it. And in due course, it's going to be legal. Like, I mean, we're going to be looking back and kind of saying, geez, we kind of ruined a lot of people's lives over, imprisoning them for a bit of cannabis. Silly. Absolutely silly. And at that time, when we're going to look back on that, that's not too far away at all. Not too far at all. Oh, just realised we missed the latest 420. My bad, but it is 424 there now again over somewhere. And you know what 424 is for? Hey. Boom. But yeah, that was that case there. That was Temple Growers thing. And yeah, this judge actually as well, just before I pack up my bowl, this judge actually has a petition out there against him. Like somebody actually set up a petition for this guy to resign. And too right, like man, any parent out there reading, like, seeing that little meme image, that little image with his fucking photo at the center of it, any parent out there is going to want this guy to resign. Oh, what have we got here in this? I have to grind up a bit of bud. Chocolate Tangy. Oh, lovely, lovely. So guys, that petition is over there. It's active. It's been active for the last 4 and a bit years. It's been active since 2019, so almost 5 years. It's been active. So get over there, give it a signature if you haven't already. I have. My name is up there somewhere, along with 48,488 others. That's how much of a dickhead this guy is. I can imagine like a good 50% of those people who've signed that are people who've seen him fucking mistreat cannabis consumers, and then you see the leniency he gives to fucking child abusers. Whoop, apologies there. Oh, that is absolutely. Oh, I wish you could smell this. Chocolate Tangy. Where have you been all my life? Shout out to Bobby. What's Martin saying here in the hot box? He's saying they just don't have these problems in the Netherlands on the scale as in Ireland and the UK. Yeah, that's true. In the likes of the Netherlands, where cannabis has been decriminalised, their rate of usage among their younger population, those under 18, is a lot lower than Ireland and the UK. Martin's also saying that it's ridiculous. People have to plead guilty for intent to supply just for having larger amounts. And he says, when you see the change happening around the world, it's madness. We still criminalise people for weed. Yeah, it is. It's absolutely ridiculous. But you know, it's an even more ridiculous one. And this is a person that actually turned out I knew. This person got caught with some cannabis, and she admitted to the guards that it was for her and her husband. That her and her husband were going to consume this. So she got caught with this on the way home. She was just after picking her up and in her, I don't know what would you say, like her looseness of talking to the cops and just wanting to kind of cooperate with them and wanting to be seen to be cooperative. She admitted that she was going to actually share this cannabis with her husband, with her partner that she was living with, that she was residing with, that when she was going home, she was going to share it with him. She was done for sale and supply. They charged her with intent to supply. Imagine going to the off license and buying a slab of beer and going home and sharing it with your lover, sharing it with your partner, your significant other, or others if you're into that kind of a thing. And imagine the cops coming along and saying, hey, do you have a license to share that alcohol with somebody, you know? Did they pay you for that alcohol? You just sold them that alcohol. Do you have a license to do that, you know? It's madness, but us cannabis consumers, we have to accept this form of discrimination, while other drug users, as I mentioned, they're alcohol users, have no problem at all. They can buy as much alcohol as they want and share it with others, and even sell it to them as long as it's not for profit. But meanwhile, cannabis users can't do that. I can't chip in with my buddies. Let's say 4 of us chip in for an ounce and it's 300 quid. 4 of us can't chip in 75 quid each, 300 quid, and buy that ounce. Because we'd be done for supply if I went and picked that up, and if I had evidence on my phone that, like, yeah, fucking Johnny and Mary and Tom all gave me 75 quid and I was going to break that up and give it to them, I'm done for dealing. I'm done for Section 3 and I face a serious crime. Mad. Oh, great. Shout out to the internet service provider today, and shout out to the Streamlabs for a good quality stream. Touch wood, it continues that way. I'll have to start loving you and leaving you in the next 30 minutes or so, because myself and herself have got a date this evening, thanks to the wonderful Miss Amy Brown. So Miss Amy Brown, take a bow out there if you're listening. Herself and the cannabis scholar. A shout out to Ashlyn as well, a cannabis scholar. Ashlyn is a PhD student granted a full scholarship to study cannabis. So while I said at the start of this show, I don't know anybody out there doing a study on cannabis patients, I do know one person, an amazing activist for the cannabis community, who is out there doing tremendous work now as a PhD student, researching cannabis. I must get her on here for an interview sometime, actually, to talk about what's the word there? Ah, shit, I'm after drawing a blank there. The subject of her, yeah, that's the word. The subject of her study, the specific study, the specific subject of our study. I know it's on cannabis, but what specifically about cannabis? And I'm sure she'll do an amazing job. But herself and Amy are actually over there in Lanzarote now. Amy's just enjoying the cannabis club scene over there, while Ashlyn is researching the cannabis club community over there. Amazing, absolutely amazing. And that's paid as well. Like, you know, she gets a stipend and the whole lot. She gets paid for that research. So, Ash, if I can contribute in any way to your research, girl, you know where to find me. Civil disobedience on the way, guys. Chocolate up tangy. Tasty. Ooh, comments coming in there in the hot box. I see Teresa, it's happening. And Louise as well says, hey from Derry, and loads of love hearts there. Nice one. And Martin saying here as well, crazy, that's criminal. Oh, 100% Martin. And that's only skimming the surface of some of the madness that's happened in the Irish courts, you know? Barry Fields as well with the link for that what did I say, that petition. Jeez, man, drawing first blanks there. A link to that petition over on the YouTube chat box. The Roving Reporter says, should check his hard drive. Bloody judges are bastards. Yeah, man, you know that there's been a number of judges up before the courts here in Ireland, like for things like this. There's actually an ongoing case there at the moment here in Ireland with a person who still works for the Department of Justice, apparently. This guy was caught with a couple of hundred indecent child abuse images in his possession. And this guy's going to be up soon enough. I believe tomorrow, actually, in front of Judge Martin Nolan. Or not tomorrow, sorry, Monday. Tomorrow, Sunday. Tomorrow, actually, is the birthday of my daughter, guys. So I give a big early happy birthday to Avery, the youngest of my four. She is going to be 1 tomorrow, so a big happy birthday there to Avery. Mr. Wes joining the show as well. Mr. Wes, welcome to the hot box, bud. Barry Field says, hi Wes, 20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration. The Roving Reporter says Spanibus will be good research. Yes, indeed, it will actually. And Ashlyn will be there with us as well, I believe, at Spanibus this year. Yeah, that will be really good research. Temple Grower says, hate me some Tangy though. And this chocolate up Tangy is, c'est magnifique. Has a lovely kind of very chocolatey and orangey flavour, definitely. If you're not partial of either of those, you ain't gonna like it. I have been hearing rumours as well, guys, out there that apparently DNA Genetics are reviving the original Chocolate strain. So the original Chocolate strain, which is a cross between a Cantaloupe Haze and a chocolate Thai. So that's the cross, that's the lineage of the original Chocolate strain, which was released by DNA Genetics. And I do believe that they are reviving it. Temple Grower says, sounds shit. Like Terry's chocolate orange. That's how people describe it. But there's actually a hard-boiled orange sweet with a melty chocolate centre. And it's more like that. Terry's chocolate orange, no, not so much. It's kind of got a warm chocolate vibe to it. Terry's chocolate orange, I don't know, it misses that melty chocolate vibe. Yeah. I like Terry's, but it's no orange chocolate, which effectively, it's a hard-boiled oranged outside with a melty chocolate centre. After you suck on the outside, it all melts out. Chocolate just jizzes into your mouth. Ah, yes. Chilbert says at the Roving Reporter, hash o'clock. Anybody out there partaking in Hash Wednesday there? Seen a fairly funny photo going around there, and it was Luke McFlanagan, and he was talking to somebody, and he's like, and so it's and so then I told him it was Hash Wednesday, or something along those lines. It was fairly funny anyway. Butcher, and I should have had a hair to share it along with you, but I'm only just thinking of it now. All right, let's drive on with more of these news headlines, shall we? Revenue sniffer dogs. Gus and Milo sniff out drugs and smokes worth 675,000 in Dublin. And it's been a busy week actually for the revenue, as in this seizure they've got 24 kilos of cannabis and 10 kilos of cannabis resin. So you see the dog's hair, like, and they're glued to it. Like, I'd imagine what this is actually doing to their sensors, like, because they've got like a reward system built in for this stuff now. So the boys must be like just fucking, I don't know, fronting at the mouth for this. But it says their revenue detector dog Gus and Milo have been in action again this week and helped seize contraband worth almost 675,000 in Dublin. Do they sniff out tobacco? I must look into that and see if the dogs actually sniff out tobacco. Anybody in the hot box? No, I never actually looked into that before. But the dogs led revenue officers who were examining parcels at a premises on Monday a risk profiling to 24 kilos of cannabis, 10 kilos of cannabis resin with a combined value of 540,000. And the consignment had originated in Spain, were destined for addresses in Dublin and Monaghan. The following day, revenue officers seized 159,000 cigarettes at a premises in Dublin as a result of an intelligence-led operation. No, see, yeah, it's intelligence-led. It wasn't the dogs. Like, they've the dogs here on top of the boxes, all right? Like, but did the dogs actually help them? I don't think so. It seems it was intelligence-led there. It says the illicit cigarettes branded Dunhill and have an estimated retail value of over €133,500 and represent a potential loss to the exchequer of approximately €105,000. That's a lot, man. That's a lot of tax. Like we make it's 133,000 altogether, and 105,000 of that is tax. Mad. These seizures are a part of Revenue's ongoing work targeting smuggling and shadow economy. Blah 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 blah. And then they go on. As I say, a busy week. This is another seizure made. 41.5 kilos of herbal cannabis were found at a premises in Rathcoole. This was valued at 830,000 worth of cannabis, and a man in his 30s was arrested. And this was an intelligence-led joint operation, right, between the Revenue and Gardaí. Again, wasted resources here, man. This joint operation, like, literally, we're draining state resources, like, paid for by taxpayers. Like, we could be making money off this instead of wasting money. You know, you go back to that last one there and they talk about 105,000 worth of potential loss to the exchequer. Why isn't that ever talked about in Prohibition? Why isn't the potential loss to the exchequer here of this? Like, if every seizure, like, they never do that. Because obviously there is no potential loss because it isn't regulated and it isn't taxed. But what if it was? What if this was regulated and taxed like they do with tobacco at the same rate? Imagine there was 77% of that 800, or 70% of that 830,000 was tax. Because that's how much that last one was. That's like almost 70% was tax. Over 70%, I believe, was tax. Imagine, like that is like 500,000, over 500,000 there. Crazy. It shouldn't be taxed that much, but anyhow. Then in the next one, 6.5 million worth of drugs seized at Rosslare. This was 288 kilos of herbal cannabis, 72 kilos of cannabis resin, and 3.3 kilos of cocaine. In total, 6.5 million, let's just say. 6.5 million. A man aged in his 40s has been detained at a Garda station in Wexford, and the drugs were discovered when an accompanied freight unit, which had earlier disembarked a ferry from Dunkirk, France, was stopped and searched. Revenue said this was a result of risk profiling and with the assistance of Revenue's mobile X-ray scanner and a detector dog, Jasper. So there you go. They are the seizures that have happened across Ireland. In total, you know, what are we saying? 6.5, 8. So let's just say another 1. So let's just say 7.5. And the earlier one was another 500,000. So you're talking about like 8 million. €8 million worth of cannabis seized there in just that 1 week alone. Potential loss there for the exchequer. Had this been taxed, say, similar to cigarettes, let's just say if the street value that they value it at was 75% tax, 75% of 8 million, that's 6 million. 6 million potential loss there. How many nurses and doctors can we keep employed there in this country for €6 million? How many? That's a lot. That's a lot. That cannabis is reaching the streets anyway. People are getting their hands in it anyway. It's being sold. It's just not being taxed. It's not being regulated. There's no quality assurance. There's no protection. And plus, the people get caught with it then. We're paying to criminalise them at a rate of 80,000 per year if they end up in prison. This is madness. A madness at a time when young kids are out there waiting years on waiting lists for important surgeries, for important appointments. Years. And this waiting leads to, suffering first and foremost, but potentially further complication of their condition, because if they treat it sooner, then it mightn't actually progress and get worse. And I'm just kind of talking openly here, broadly. There's many patients out there waiting to see doctors and nurses, and they're not. And these waiting lists are years long. And then you know what they're doing then as well on these waiting lists, and rant will be over after this one, but they're sending out letters to people asking, hey, do you want to still be on this waiting list? It's like, yeah, sure, I just magically got better. It's like, come on, like, what is that about? And I know what it's about. They want these people, they're hoping that maybe they might have moved, given the housing crisis that's going on. They're hoping they might have moved and that they don't respond, because if you don't respond, they'll take you off the waiting list. They'll assume that you don't want to be on it anymore, rather than assume that you might have moved and try to make further contact, maybe through a phone call. It's crazy. They've tried to do this to us several times with my kids. Several times letters have come in for the same appointment. Same appointment. Do you want to be still on this waiting list? Do you still want to be on this? Like, yes, since the last time you asked me, I still do want to be on this waiting list. Rant over, promise. Casa de Stroga says, my hemp seeds were seized and the customs lad told me the dog found it. The seeds were returned after 4 months through a court appeal. Yeah, I'd imagine the dog would find it too, because the seeds have to come from the cannabis flower, the hemp flower. Cannabis flower, effectively exact same thing, just different names. And that then will actually contain the terpenes. It's a terpene that the dog is trained to smell. And I do believe all drug dogs, and I'm open to correction on this, are trained to smell out the compound, the terpene, caraphyllene. That is the most abundant terpene in the cannabis flower. And I do believe that is the one that the drug dogs are specifically trained to find. They're probably trained to find other ones associated maybe with other drugs, and maybe there's other terpenes now being included for cannabis. Because of that information being out there, but it was, and I do believe it still remains to be caraphyllene that is the most abundant terpene in cannabis, and it is the one drug dogs are trained to find. So therefore, it would be on your hemp seeds, cannabis seeds, and the dogs would sniff it out then, because, man, what you have, 15 kilo of seed? Yeah. So good chance there was a lovely smell for the dogs, man, because, like, man, think of a dog's nose. Like, that thing is a fine instrument, like, for, like, delicate aromas. Like, just a minute bit of aroma there, and the dog will be able to sniff that out, man. So, yeah, of course, that 15 kilos must have smelled glorious to that dog. And he got a good squeeze off the ball afterwards. Teresa says, checking to see if you're still alive. Stream is doing good, yeah. You're frightening me there now, Teresa. Excellent. Just Tangy. He says it's feels the same about the Forbidden Fruit Dream lines, Tropicana, cookies, and the likes. Temple Grower saying that my one Jack Herer is definitely terpinolene dominant, but it has this super hazy, tropical, creamy back end that tones its way down. Oh man, that sounds amazing. I just can't wait till we can get together, all growers here in Ireland, the different growers, the different cannabis enthusiasts, and share the different varieties of cannabis that are out there, and have these fucking very complex conversations about, like, terpinolene dominant and limonene and, all of these different mad compounds that are in cannabis because, like, as recent studies have shown, it's not even terpenes that are actually primarily responsible now for the aromas there of cannabis. That there is these other minute compounds there that are also attributing their qualities there to the aroma of the cannabis, which is very interesting, you know. And I'd love to be in college studying that stuff. What I would really love to be in college studying is the clinical side of it, but yeah, I would be very interested in that side of it too. Casa says I've been baking hemp seed maple syrup bread waiting for the license to cultivate. Hopefully you don't bake all those seeds before that arrives. Temple Grower says, yeah, it's Seedman's Jacks, not the original cross, but one of my absolute favourites. Nice, nice. So as I said, that is all from Ireland, thankfully, on the raids. We drive on. Yeah, we drive on then, and we talk about another thing that's going on out there, and I'm glad to be able to kind of bring the ongoing fucking genocide of Gaza to the show, because of the I'll hit this button actually instead. Boom. Because of the ongoing genocide in Gaza on the Palestinian people, the drug dealers, the hash producers of Morocco, have put in place their own sanctions on, or even an embargo, is it? Or sanctions, yeah, their own sanctions on Israeli drug dealers and people who deal with Israeli drug dealers too. So they've stopped supplying the Israeli drug dealers and the suppliers to the Israeli market with hash. So, well, like, man, I think it's... Did I... Fingers crossed. Oh, shut up. There we go. Stop laughing at me. So that's a big... That thing's still going. That's a big boola bus going out there to the Moroccan hash producers because fair play to you. Fair play to you. So the Israelis, apparently the hash market in Israel, according to this article, is worth like $1 billion, several $1 billion a year. So according to estimates, Morocco's revenue from the sale of the drug, that's Morocco's, but the hash trade within Israel itself, it talks about it being worth like multiple millions, and that already since this has been put in place, that Israeli drug dealers have lost out on tens of millions of Israeli shekels. And it talks in the article about an Israeli shekel being worth just under 30 cents. So that's like multiple millions that the Israeli drug dealers have lost out in already. So the Israeli hash market is quite large, it's quite lucrative, and now there's been a block put in place on one of the most sought after products then, which would be a Moroccan produced hash. Although they do have other regions there within the area that produce hash, Moroccans, man, the Rif Mountains and the quality of the hash that comes out of there, it's it's unrivaled, I suppose, really. Like, you know, I know there's the Lebanese hash and stuff like that. There's other regions that produce hash, but come on, like, there's no region that's as famous as Morocco for the hash that comes out of there. It's definitely unrivaled anyway. So fair play to the Moroccans. Is there anything else there within that article? No. Interesting as well in that article, it kind of uses the Hebrew. Is it Hebrew? Yeah, they use that way of writing from right to left. It kind of preserved that when it was converting it to English, because this article was actually translated to English. So there you go, guys. Fair play to the Moroccan farmers. There was more info on it here actually on this. It says dealers of highly prized Moroccan hashish are severing ties with Israeli drug smugglers. They are boycotting Israeli dealers in protest at the killing of Palestinians in Gaza, and the boycott is leading to significant financial losses for Israeli crime gangs. And there was a report about it then that was actually out in Israeli media. That was the one that we were looking at there a couple of minutes ago, that was converted to English. And it talks here as well, it gives a bit of information about Morocco, and that there's more than 80,000 families in Morocco that make a living from growing and processing the dark, sticky resin that is a byproduct of the cannabis plant. And it says Morocco is the world's largest producer of hashish, contributing 19% of the global total. While most Moroccan hashish is destined for European markets, there is also demand in Israel due to the product's exceptional quality and potency. It fetches prices as high as $84,000. That is mad. So it talks about 300,000 Israeli shekels, new Israeli shekels, which is $84,000 for a kilo. That's insane. Talks about here before the boycott, Moroccan hash flowed into Israel through various channels facilitated by local Israeli smugglers, including some unexpected players like Orthodox Jewish students. However, the current boycott has disrupted these established routes, forcing Israeli smugglers to consider other sources. The Moroccan dealers condemned the disparity between the thriving Israeli market and the war imposed on Palestinians in Gaza, choosing to end dealings with the Israeli counterparts and redirect their product elsewhere. Fingers crossed some of that finds her to my desk. I'll support you over there in Morocco on your sanctions on Israeli dealers by buying some of your hash. I'm sure there's out there who'll happy to pool in with me there, and we'll support you. Talks there as well, about the horrific killing of the Israelis by the Hamas people on October 7th, when they moved in and they killed 1,139 people, and they also took 247 civilians. And unfortunately, I've seen some of the fucking barbaric stuff that was done there, and in no way am I support of the Palestinian people. I condone what was done on October 7th, but at the same time, you can't forget what was done to the people of Gaza, to the people of Palestine over the preceding 76 years. There was a long war there on the Palestinian people by the Israeli government, the IDF. And it talks here about just in the recent months, months since October 7th, 28,064 people in Gaza have been killed, and 67,611 people have been wounded. In Israeli attacks since October 7th. That's insane. Absolutely insane when you consider that a majority of those killed and wounded are women and children. Fair play to the Moroccan farmers is all I say, man. Anything can be done to put pressure on Israel to cease fire. Fucking bull bust, man. So it's well done. Epic stuff. So guys, anybody out there who knows a good source of Moroccan hash, I want to do my part and support the Moroccan farmers by buying some of that hash. So links in the hotbox over there on Telegram. But yeah, man, all jokes aside, genocide is happening clear as day. And I can feel the emotions welling up already, because some of the stuff that we've been exposed to since October 7th, since that the escalation by the Israeli army on the people of Palestine and in Gaza, some of the stuff we feel, I've honestly have to say I've never been made cry so much by what I've seen online in the last 3 months than I have in all my 34 years of living. Says a lot about what's going on out there. Man, it's stop the world, let me get off. Watch out. I'm glad to be able to bring that to the show today. Not that I want to be fucking highlighting. Well, not that I want this to be going on, but the fact that it is going on, I'm glad there's something of relevance to the cannabis community that I can bring this up and condemn the genocide that's going on over there by the Israeli government, the Israeli army, the IDF. And yes, Mr. Finnegan says it, man. Make hash, not war. Man, how the fuck is there a war, a prohibition, a global prohibition on cannabis, pretty much. A global prohibition on cannabis, but there's no global prohibition on fucking wars. Why are countries allowed to go to war with one another? Me and my brother, we were never allowed to fight. We weren't allowed to go to war by our parents. Why in the name of God do other countries allow other countries go to war with one another? Why aren't we putting sanctions on all people that go to war? We only put sanctions on Russia. Why is there no sanctions on Israel? Oh, they're defending it. No, they're not defending themselves. Come on, in fairness, as I said, 76 years preceding of pressure on the Palestinian people. You know what I mean? not to condone what went on in the Troubles back here in Ireland, like, but again, you look at what was going on, the pressure that was being put on the people of Ireland. Of course, there's going to be an uprising and a rebellion and a formation of a group like the IRA. The IRA is basically the Hamas, I suppose, really, like not of that time, you know. I know what they done there is fucking brutal and horrific, like, because they went in and they pointed guns and shot and killed, like, but IRA just placed bombs and let shit blow up. Like, I don't think the IRA done anything near next to her as horrific of what Hamas did on October 7th. As I say, I condemn that just as much. That was horrific. Horrific. Kids, women, like, man, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. But yeah, like, you look at that, like, of course you're going to get an uprising. Yeah, but look, as I said, I'm just glad to be able to, that there was something of relevance there to our community, to be able to highlight that that horrific genocide that's happening on this planet right now. Let's blaze a bowl for the people of Palestine. You know, let's blaze a bowl. Let's smoke one, and this isn't even a bowl of civil disobedience. Every bowl on the show is a bowl of civil disobedience, except this one. This is a bowl of hope. Let's hope that there's a ceasefire soon. So, if you want to smoke that, let's do it. So slow like that. All the people out there, on both sides of that border, you know, the Israeli people and the Palestinian people, you know, I wish health to everybody over there. I hope the conflict stops on both sides. I hope a resolution can be reached, and that the people can live in peace. But it seems that Zionist fucking kind of mentality there, it doesn't seem to be I would just say it doesn't seem to be what's that word with the C? Shit, gone loads of blanks here today. Doesn't seem to be compatible. That was the C word I was looking for. Compatible with peace. Zionists, you know the logic, you know what I mean? Because basically under Zionism, they want to rid Palestine. It's a genocide. It's Zionism. It's in my eyes. I can't see it in any other way. Yeah. Boom. What are y'all saying anyway? Don't make hash, not war. Yes, I believe that, yeah. Chilbert says genocide is happening clear as day. 100%, man. Fair play to South Africa as well for bringing that up. Fair play. Temple Grower says, smoking on some Kootenai derived beautiful pressed bubble at the minute. Ooh, talking of bubble. Oh, I should have put some bubble into that actually. That would have made it extra special there for the Palestinian people. Oh. Let's crack out this jar. Oh, here we go. Oh, you got a little thing here. Got some bubble hash as well. Don't come eat with the camera to focus. Yeah, there we go. A little bit of bubble hash here rolled up into a bit of a temple ball. This one actually is some GMO and chocolate. That particular one was the 25 micron screen. We've got another one in there that's a little bit larger actually. And this particular one, oh, this one's looking lovely. It's a creamy looking one. It's not as dark as the other one. That's lovely. Oh, the smell there actually, now that oh, lovely. This one is from the 75 micron screen, and as you can gather by my reaction, oh, my fingers even. Oh, that is delicious. Delicious. Sorry, I don't have to pop out that rad there next to me. Bloody temperature is popping up in here. Oh, but yeah, nice bottles. But where's the other one? Yeah, I have a smaller ball here that I've been already working on. This is my small ball. I've got balls of varying sizes here. But we will get another bowl going there, and we will offer this one up as well for fucking ceasefire too, as we're on it. Anything else there that I have to finish off with you? Oh yes, I do, guys. I do. There is another article here by Beauty Inc. As we pack up another bowl, I'll drop this one up there for you. Beauty Inc. Beauty Inc. Runners are turning to cannabis to get into the zone, and they're not only turning to cannabis, but product producers are turning to different like obviously if you're a runner you're not going to be smoking your product, so therefore they're offering up various ways in which these runners can get these cannabinoids into their body. And as I said, I think a long time ago, the future is these cannabis infused products like these drinks. I do believe like in the future the primary way people are going to get cannabinoids into their body is going to be through things like drinks and edibles. Most likely drinks, I would say, be more popular than edibles, because the drinks can be probably it can be much easier to make them healthier. Even though you could probably get protein balls with some fat and stuff in there, but again, I'd imagine the drink is probably making them an easier way to deliver it to the body. But this particular one, it's got some like L-theanine inside there, is it? Or L... Will pop up actually their website. This article is up there on Beauty Inc. if you want to read it, and it's a full bit. It's a few references there from people talking about the benefits they've experienced from it. Like one person quoting her, quote from them saying, "I first noticed like, wow, my brain is finally shutting off." She says of the first time she used weed before a run, because you know that's a very beneficial thing during a run, is to be able to kind of. It's not that shut off the brain. I think that's the wrong way of describing it, but it's like the concentrate, to be able just to concentrate, to get into the zone. Sometimes it's very hard to kind of go on a run, and the brain is like communicating with the body. It's telling you, you know, you're tired. Oh, you need to stop. You need to breathe. Oh, you're not going to be able to breathe. Whereas like you can kind of turn off that thing and kind of get into the zone, and maybe you're going on a jog and you're kind of thinking about various things like. But yeah, cannabis helping you to reach that zone. Another person saying here, I pretty much used it 99% of my runs up until the marathon, and I did use weed on race day. And that was a quote here from Kate Glavin at the New York City Marathon in November. Class, maybe I might be one to aim for actually later on this year. New York City Marathon. It's happening, Bobby. We will. These are the products. This is off field. So just to look at this, some of the offerings that are over there in the US of A. This has got 5 milligrams of THC, 20 milligrams of CBD, 10 milligrams of CBG. CBG is a compound. I'm blown away by, and I have to give a shout out to my buddy, the Cosmic Traveler. Yeah, he's big on CBG as well, and because of him, I learned a lot about it as well. He opened my mind to it, and I went and done a lot of research into it then afterwards, learning loads about it. But there's also 100 milligrams of L-theanine inside in there as well. Adding, to the health benefits of it, L-theanine there is kind of said to be a cognitive enhancer, while also being said to help with mood regulation as well, and relaxation. So again, maybe it's a bit of a synergy there to some of these cannabinoids that are in there. A shop high performance. So here's the cans they have. What else have they got inside in here? Where's the rest of their products? Oh, down here, I was right underneath it. So they've got all these other products here as well. So these are gummies. It looks like they've got a sachet here, like some sort of a drink powder. You probably it looks like it says dragon fruit lemon. I think that's what I can read on this. Can I zoom in more? No, it doesn't allow me to zoom in anymore on this, but dragon fruit lemon. So that's like a sachet, poured it in, and it's obviously got some, it's got CBD and CBG in there as well. It seems like the drink is the only one with THC by looking at these labels. Oh, that these gummies have also got 15 milligrams of Terra Mate caffeine. So those would be nice there, like, something nice to suck on while you're going on a long run. Because they've obviously, if they're gummies, they've got a bit of fat in there, they've got a bit of sugar in there, so that'll help with the endurance as well of a long run. Class. Let's explore the rest of this page, shall we, or has it froze on me? Oh, there we go. It says, mind and body helps manage anxiety and stress for more calm and focused energy. Science of exercise, doctor formulated to trigger the natural runner's high and plant-enhanced L-theanine, broad-spectrum CBD and CBG for enhanced performance. And talks about the sports drink then, THC infused. This is the first THC infused sports drinks to activate the runner's high, and lab approved, off-field lab trial product with over 300 athletes participating in development. And again, think about this, right? 300 athletes participating in the development of a THC infused drink. How many of these athletes actually suffered from a psychotic break? You know what I mean? How strong a link there is. Like, you can put 300 people on a cannabis THC a THC infused product, and none of them suffer psychotically. It really knocks that one out of the water, doesn't it? Ships to 46 states around the US of A. And an important thing about this product that I was blown away about when I seen it, and it's a small contribution, but still a contribution nonetheless, and that's 1% of revenue goes towards the Last Prisoner Project. So fair play to them for doing that as well. Excellent stuff. Well done. So that's pretty much it about Off-Field all across their website. So boom, that's all the news there pretty much for today and the 420 news. 14 minutes away there from the next 420. Oh, hey. But we'll blaze one anyway. As I said, this next one again is a bowl going out for a ceasefire over there in the Middle East. Let's hope that soon a resolution can be reached and conflict can be ended in Gaza and the Palestinian people. It's just beyond horrific what's going on there. Like, there's just words can't describe it. Sorry for going back to that again, like, but it actually is that bad, like, man. But me little ball of hash going into this one. Let's pop it back up to a bigger screen. As I said, I got a date there this evening with herself, so I will have to start signing off there again shortly. I told herself, I was like, I'll go out there, it'll be only about an hour or so, like. Hour 47. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, lovely. And again, before we end the show, I have to give a big happy birthday as well to Avery, who's going to be 1 tomorrow. Yes. Daddy's happy that he's not in prison for his use of cannabis, for his he's a need to use cannabis as a medicine to control my epilepsy. But prior to my epilepsy becoming active again, even then, just enjoying cannabis. As I describe myself, I'm a cannabis enthusiast also as a cannabis patient. So yes, Daddy is happy that he's not in prison. And as I smoke this bowl, I'll smoke it to a ceasefire in Gaza as soon as possible. But also, that all cannabis prisoners are free, and no daughters are without their dad on their birthday because of a cannabis imprisonment. So here's the hoping. This bowl is going to go on for a bit too because of the hash that just went into it. Oh, you gotta love these hash bowls. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh. As you can see, this is still going like. This comedian in a minute in the opera house is going to be wondering, like, Kyla Cobbler. She's going to be wondering, why is that guy laughing so much? I'm not even telling a joke yet. I ain't going to be that guy. I really laughing at my not funny jokes. Good lordy, that hash really does pack a punch. Yes, keep those happy birthdays coming in there to the little lady Avery anyway, who's going to be 1 tomorrow. And Avery is AVR II for anybody who's wondering how to spell it. What? So yes, a ball for peace. Peace in the Middle East and peace across the world on cannabis consumers. End wars on cannabis, end the war on the cannabis, and end the war on Palestine. Yes, yes, nice one, Robin Reporter. I appreciate that. I'm gonna screenshot that there now in a minute, and I'm gonna show my kids that, and I say, see, I'm not the only one laughing. It might sound like I'm the only one laughing, but there's other people out there laughing with me, and hopefully that not at me. Yeah, I confirm that, Roving Reporter. You're not laughing at me, yeah? Hey. Nothing funnier than self-deprecation, isn't there? Hey. Teresa says, Martin, show chili or balls, will you? Happy birthday, lady. Oh, did chili not see my balls? I'll gladly show off my balls again. Be warned, guys, that this is my big ball. Oh, yes. It's a big smelly ball, too. Oh, I love it. But, and this stuff as well, guys, it's beautiful. Like, you can just pinch it off. It crumbles, like, so nicely. So nicely. I have it wrapped up here in some grease-proof paper. And then it goes into a little airtight jar here, a little Sensei Seeds one given to me by my buddy up there in the Vape Lounge up there in Northern Ireland. Al, shout out to Al, the NI Canada guy. So it goes inside there, and yeah, we'll cure it up. Did have a little oxygen scrubber there at one point in time, but it's a bit overkill probably. Quadrex says, happy birthday, kiddo. Glad you're free to see the kid grow. And let's long may that last. Just a reminder to people out there, if you might have forgotten, I'm back in court in 2 weeks, is it? No, 14 days? No, just over 2 weeks. I believe it's on a Wednesday I'm back in court. Let's just confirm that. I think it's the 5th of March. Tuesday. It's a Tuesday, guys. 5th of March, I'm back in court. So that'll be just over 2 weeks' time. John Finnegan says, when the comedian says she is going to try something different, don't shout, what make us laugh? Any other comments out there? Temple Grower says, we made a new THC CBD CBN oil last week. Super novel and innovated. Ooh. DG, I must actually arrange have yourself back on again because I'm sure there's lots there that remains to be talked about. We were kind of just having a crack there the last day and just with GB and everything there. But I definitely would love to hear more from yourself about the industry over there because it's something we didn't even touch off of in our last conversation as well. And I'm sure you'll be more than happy to come on here and rant away for a while, man. And I'd gladly sit back and listen. Roman Reporter says, at Chilbert, did you get to see those Martin's balls? Everyone's loving them. Hope you caught him there, Chilbert. Teresa says, you better not get locked up before we go away. I know, yeah, that'll be my luck. One, they'll get banged up, but hopefully not. What's the crack with the case? It's going to be back up on the 5th. The 5th is going to be actually a hearing, but not sentencing. So I believe they're just going to hear the case that day, and it'll be probably back again another day for sentencing, I would imagine. So the chance of me getting locked up at the next one are unlikely. Even if they did go ahead with sentencing on that day, and if I got sentenced to any time in prison, like I'm lodging an appeal immediately, and I'll be out on bail, and hopefully they don't take my passport. I'm not a flight risk as such. Like I've never bunked them as such, except for my first time I got imprisoned. I just kind of lost it a bit with the justice system and didn't want to engage with them anymore. Much like they didn't want to engage with me either when I was before them. But yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen. Touch wood. Boom. Yes, loads of happy birthdays there. Nice one, Chilbert. Nice one, Miles Chronic. Loads of happy birthdays for Avery, as I say, who's one tomorrow. Can't wait to celebrate. Birthday cake, yay! Miles Chronic says jogging is brilliant on the right cultivar and strain. Oh, 100%. Can you remember myself and Alexis? We did a charity run there. If you follow me over on X, you might remember it. It's pretty much print my profile. I've just never really had anything else important to pin up there. But it's still up there. Myself and Alexis, we ran 14 kilometers a day. Alexis cycled it, and I ran it. I jogged it. And I will be honest, every time I did it, I was medicated with cannabis, and it made it so much easier. So much easier. There's a cool video over there on my YouTube actually that Alexis made. Me and Alexis, she recorded it, and I edited it. I put a bit of music into it. After we put it in there, as the rush comes, that's what we put onto it. But that was a part of that. One of the days we actually went up to the Ballyhora Mountains, and we cycled our 14 kilometers together that day. So yeah. That was a good fun challenge. As I said, pretty much every day I did that, I was medicated with cannabis. No problem at all. And yeah, the right strain doing that is amazing. Doing it, and after a heavy indica is definitely no bueno. But yeah, a good sativa with the right balance there. And again, people, I know there's a lot of debate out there, indica sativa, but you know what I'm talking about, like, something with a nice head high, not too much on the body, and a lot of the times that is sativa dominant. I think it's something to do with THCV. I think there was someone talking about that, highlighting, about how sativa strains were higher in THCV, which maybe could contribute, as I was talking about there, just a little, one molecule just move differently can completely alter maybe the compound's potency and effects. So maybe that's why you get more of an energetic high off a sativa. Who knows? But that's for another day. Total bro science at the moment. I knew it was coming. I knew that was coming. Oh yes, gotta love that one. With the length of the stream, you'll miss Avery's first birthday. She had to get that in there, didn't she? She had to get that in there. Oh, here it is. Here it is. I got my okie. There we go. Oh. No, that's shit. I thought I get the right button. Go on, Karina. And it's a wah for Martin. Yeah, of course. Ending the stream there now, Karina, love. I'll be in there shortly. Miles Chronic says, cool, well done, Martin. And Mr. O'Brien says, I like that lazy weed. Yeah, I certainly like it too, Mr. O'Brien. But it is great to have the alternatives there, to be able to vary between it, because getting up early in the morning and having to medicate before going to work, it's best not to do it with a heavy indica. Otherwise, that afternoon lunch could be turning into a bit of a weed nap. And productivity might not be very high after a heavy indica. But who knows, like, there's somebody out there then as well suffering with chronic pain. A heavy indica to them probably wouldn't actually be sedative at all, maybe, except to their pain. Which I'll probably be needing some indica later on after I get in there. Karina's probably going to sock me one or two. No, I promise she's not violent at all, guys. I swear. I promise. I'm definitely not saying that out of fear of getting a punch. Yes, but right. There we go. Here's the countdown to the end. Right, here's the countdown to the end. Oh yes. It's been a great stream, guys. It's been nice knowing ye. I probably won't be back for more because I'll probably get murdered for prolonging this for like another 30 seconds. To say happy 420 again to ye. It's just a bit of hash gone in here with a tiny little sprinkle of herbas. That's all that's left. Not even gonna risk grinding anymore because I will be absolutely murdered if this takes any longer than this. Ah, yes. But a little bit of, and we're gone. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy 420, everybody, in those mentioned places up there. It's been nice knowing you all, guys. It was worth it, risking it for this biscuit. But no wonder I'm violent. The weed will soften the blow. That's why I said I stayed that extra few seconds there, like, because I'm definitely gonna need it. Not a bother, everybody. Absolute pleasure to get on here, guys. Spend 2 hours going through some cannabis-related news from across the world. To wish happy birthday to my daughter, and to offer up bowls there for peace in the Middle East, and hopefully peace in my house as well later. Yes. There we go, guys. So anybody else who's going to be waiting for the next 420, guys, enjoy. To me, I will go out there now and get ready for the arrival of our babysitter. I go have some fun this evening at, I think it was Kyla Cobbler. That's what we're going to see, so it should be good fun. And again, nice one, Amy. Absolute legend for hooking us up. Love you all, guys. See y'all later. If I'm lucky.